In this video, I'm showing you how I successfully grew grapes right here in my own backyard. It was so easy and you can do it too. So stick around and check out how I've done this. G'day everybody, welcome to my Aussie gardening kitchen, garden edition. If it's your first time here, my name's Darren, but please call me Daz. And yep, here I am right in front of my grapes, and this is a follow-up, about a 2-year follow-up to my video where I showed you how I planted grapes. That video did pretty well, and you know what, it's been 2 years. Thought it's about time that I actually showed you how I went and how successful I've been. How successful have I been? Check it out. I've got bunches and bunches of grapes. It is awesome. So it was a couple of years ago now that I planted 2 grapevines. They're both a seedless red grape, and I had this idea that I'd have grapes down one side of a walkway and thornless blackberries that I propagated down the other side. And here I am a couple of years later, and it's absolutely successful. I've got an abundance of blackberries, thornless blackberries growing down one side, and I've got my grapes here down the other. So yeah, let's have a look at what I've done and how I've gone about it and how you can do it. So the first thing I had to do, and what you would have to do too, is work out what variety you want. Now, do you want something that's a table grape, a wine grape? Will it grow in your area? That sort of thing. And I decided on the 2 seedless red grapes, a flame and a crimson, I believe they're called. And the reason I went for those is because I've got kids who aren't fans of seeds and grapes. Neither am I. So it just made perfect sense. We wanted a table grape, something we can eat. And away we went. I got stuck in, planted them, and here I am today. You might be able to hear the chickens just beside me, so sorry about that, but I've got the grapes down here next to me, and they just want to have a good fill of grapes. I think in the next couple of days, instead of eggs, I'm going to be getting grapes out of these guys, or these girls, I should say. Here you go. Yeah, there you go. Chick, chick, chick. Enjoy. They're awesome. One thing I had to consider, and you'll need to consider too, is the location for the grapes, because grapes are going to need a good 6 hours of sunlight every day. So in my case, I've put them here where they're going to get sunlight. Now what I should have done is actually swapped my blackberries and grapes around, so the grapes actually get more sunlight than the blackberries, but it's fine. They're getting enough sunlight here. They get very early morning sunlight all the way up to midday where they go over the top, and they're still getting sunlight during the day. The sun still hangs around obviously until the afternoon before it drops down low. So I'm not seeing any bad effects of that. So thumbs up, it seems to be a good location. So definitely think about your location, where you're going to put yours, because you do want that sunlight on your grapevines. So once I had my location sorted out, I had to look at the soil, and I was quite lucky because here I'm on an inland island and my soil is a very sandy, loamy soil. So when it came to planting, I had a nice soil that was going to drain well. You don't want the roots of the grapes to be down in a muddy clay soil. That's just not going to be good for them. So when you're planting yours, consider something that's going to be a nice free draining soil. If you've got a container, make sure it's in a container, a big container that's got drainage holes so all that excess moisture can get out of the container. And if you want to know more about planting your grapes, I do recommend my video where I show you the whole process of where I planted mine. And of course, you can go back and see how I started and then come back again here and see how it looks 2 years later. As far as feeding and watering goes, grapes like to be watered, but not drenched. You don't want those roots wet, as I said earlier. But I guess when it comes to hot weather, it's common sense that you're going to have to use more water in the hot weather, especially summer. While they're producing in spring, you're going to want to make sure they get enough water. And at the start of spring, and actually during spring, I like to give them some food, just so when they're developing fruit, they've got that nutrition that's going to help them out. And when it comes to food, I just use a general purpose fertilizer, fish emulsion, seaweed mixes, stuff like that. That's all I use on these. I pretty much feed them once they've woken up and started to have leaves growing on them in spring. And then as they're starting to fruit, I'll give them another feed just to help along, as I said earlier, with the process of growing the fruit and make sure they've got that nutrition that they're really looking for. Just a note, when watering, I always try to water down low on the ground. I try not to get the foliage wet at all because I don't want to introduce fungal diseases and things like that. So especially if I'm watering in the afternoon or the evening, I'm going to be watering down at the base and not up on the foliage because I just don't want any chances of things happening with mildew and stuff like that. So when it comes to fruiting, you're looking at the size and the colour and even taking a few every now and then and trying them for sweetness, and you pick them at the desired sweetness, you know, the level that you think that you're going to enjoy them at. It's all about you enjoying your fruit, so you really need to get out there and taste them yourself and decide when you think you should take them off the vine and eat them yourself. These ones here, they're a little bit small, but they're absolutely delicious. They really pop inside your mouth with a fresh crunch and a burst of sweetness, and I absolutely love these, and as you can see, my chickens love them too. Now, grapes are going to need pruning, and I prune mine in winter because at that stage the leaves are falling off and you can see the canes quite clearly, and you're able to get in there and look at what sort of shape you're looking at, which branches need to be cut back, that sort of thing. I've got the two plants here. I planted them about say 8 feet apart from each other to give space, and then when it came to pruning, I just pruned it so each one grew up and then out to the left and right, and then when it comes to actual leaves growing and eventually having fruit, the new foliage comes from those canes that I've pruned, and then the fruit actually grows on the brand new growth. So you really want to get out there and prune for shape, but you also want to prune so you've got brand new growth that's going to come out in spring and give you the most delicious fruit on that brand new growth. And there's really not much effort. The biggest effort you're probably going to have is the pruning, and I didn't find that to be a big deal at all. I think I probably took about 15 minutes per grapevine of the two vines I've got here, say 15 minutes each, and I cut those back. Didn't take long at all. I think I cut them back so there was maybe about 8 spurs or 8 stems coming off each branch either side, and away I went. And as you can see behind me and in other pictures I've been showing you, I've had great success at growing grapes here in my own backyard, and you can certainly do it too yourself. I have an abundance of birds here that visit my yard, and of course they like fresh fruit. So I do recommend that you net your grapevine, especially in fruiting season, to stop the birds from eating your fruit, because in my case, I would have no fruit. There's so many birds here. So I made this structure here and it works well. I used pipes, just plastic pipes as a frame. They're okay, they're doing the job. I did it on the cheap, but I think in hindsight, I might look at maybe doing some sort of wood frame and making it taller, because I can get in there and I walk and I can take grapes and berries from one side to the other. It's fantastic, but I wouldn't mind a bit more headroom. And as you can see here, the grapes really do grow and grow and grow. Well, the vines do, and they're pushing on the net, they're pushing through the net. So yep, I think next season, if you come back and see more videos, this is probably going to be a taller frame. Just gives me a bit more room, as well as the grapes. I do recommend that you watch my video where I planted these and you can see where it all started. Just click in this video right here, it'll take you to that video. Thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.